All right, everybody, welcome back. It is, well, it's been a little wet, been a little windy. Many of you guys have recently got power back on. And, well, what can you say? It's super exciting because at least it's calm. But on the real estate side of things, we've had 4 months in a row with positive consumer confidence. We're going to go into that along with the metrics of what's going on in our market on the residential side and along with mortgages and what the heck they're doing. Let's get the show on the road. Okay, so a lot of folks are like, George, what the heck is this consumer confidence thing? Well, that's a really great question because what they're talking about is part of a Michigan study. And Alex here, she did a great job, I think, of really kind of isolating things out. So the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index was up slightly in November, yet another increase from its 7.5 reading in October to a final reading of 71.8 in November. Basically a 1.8% increase. The index rose 17.1% over last year. So what we're seeing in this report is very consistent with what's going on in our area. Since pendants are up, since solds are up, inventory has been actually coming down. Some of this is seasonally normal. And what will be kind of the new thing is what's going to happen after next Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. So hang on a second. Let's dive back into this. It says this is the fourth consecutive month of increases for the index. Previously, the index had risen in the beginning of August after 5 months of a decline. The first 2 months of the year started out strong as well with rises in January and February. Consumer sentiment was little change this month, inching up 1.3 index points from October. In November, sentiment extended a 4th month stretch of consecutive incremental increases. All right. The long and the short of it is this. People are still seeing, especially in our area and in a lot of areas across the United States, that things are moving forward. Okay. Yes, interest rate right now still holds to be one of the biggest, I would say, factors that is affecting mortgage rates, right, or real estate transactions. So if we were to go back to 2020, we would see a massive amount of pended and sold properties. Inventory was way down and interest rates were way down. Now, when we advance that forward, 2022, we saw inventories rise, sales come down, interest rates went up. So that is a normal common trend. And remember, in 2023, technically, no, 2022, that's when they really kind of started shooting up. 2023, they went up to almost into the 8s, right? But we started to see that climb. And as that climb started to happen, until people acclimated to that, to our normal rates between the high 6s, low 7s, which is normal, until people acclimated to that, we didn't see much activity. And in fact, it was October of last year that we started to see those rates coming down, realized in November of 2023. And that's when our market really started picking back up again. We started seeing a lot more transactions. We did have a later in the year peak as far as number of sales. And that's again contributed because interest rates came down. This year, interest rates are down about 0.46% of where they were at last year. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And we're still expecting those to continue to drop, even though in December, I'm now hedging that the feds will not lower the Fed rate. Now, remember, the feds have nothing to do with mortgage rates. Remember that. They only control consumer credit cards, HELOCs, home equity line of credit, your car mortgages, payments, loans, what banks lend to each other, and then commercial lending, right? All right. So when we take a look at that and we say, okay, if the feds aren't going to change in December, is that going to adversely affect it? Well, probably no, because the last two drops that they actually did, mortgage rates actually went up. So I am anticipating that, at the end of the year, Q1, part of Q2, we're going to see about 5.75 in rate up to, I would say, the low sixes, which is going to be something that will bubble around, subject to a lot of the craziness that's going on around the world. Here we go. All right. So when we pop over and we start taking a look at just headlines. So headlines themselves, as you can see here, uncommon pattern emerging in existing home inventory. We just discussed that. We're seeing more of a lateral, a sideways kind of action along with mortgage rates and whatnot. Mortgage applications technically improve, technically meaning that there's a modest improvement, but nothing super crazy. But then again, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, hey, listen, Fed rates, or mortgage rates, I should say, they bopped up, to the real low 7, high 6s right now. And that's going to be important because for folks that are looking at doing a refinance, looking at mortgages, if you're doing a refinance, you just need to stand fast. I think that they will come down. That's my humble opinion. What is it? There's, I'm sure, some attorney disclaimer that I'm supposed to put in there that this is only my opinion. But my opinion is that I would stand fast for a little bit. I would not be buying down rate at all right now because I think that, we are going to see a 0.5-0.75% rate drop here in 2025. And that's definitely something worth considering. Just saying. All right. If not, go to that calculator page. There's a, hey, should I refinance? And you'll be able to see all of that super cool information. All right. When we pop over, we take a look at what the old Freddie Mac has to say. Their running average, as you can see, is 6.84%. Again, they tend to lag just a little bit, but you can see the arrow there of that we've been heading up in a slight upward angle. Upward trend. And of course, the dip there, that's when the Feds dropped their 0.5 point. Super funny when people are asking, why? And it's a very simple answer because the Feds don't control it. Mortgages, your mortgage for your home, let's be qualify that. That's publicly traded. It's your mortgage-backed securities, your bonds. And as industrial investors move in and out, that's who and how those rates are adjusted. Remember, the Feds, they only adjust their rate once every 6 weeks when they meet, which is totally different. Okay, moving on. So when we take a look at other things, and we take a look at our metrics here, on the left-hand side, you can see, hey, our year-to-date, as far as days on market, we actually increased from 41 to 42 days over last week, which is the same as the year-to-date. The actual sales price, we're at about 97% from list to sales price, and that's pretty consistent. We bobble between 97 and 100. And for those of you that what does that mean? Say, okay, if we list for $100,000 and I sell at $97,000, that is a 97% of list price to sales price. Okay. If it was 99, it would be 99%. Okay. I'm just using 100,000 because it's a simple number to work with. So understand that we're pretty much par for the course. This year, we hit 100 a couple of times, but mostly 98, 97, right in there, pretty close. However, is when we take a look at the average days on market, that has been incrementally going up, and part of that is seasonality. So it's nothing really to panic over. But let's take a look at what's going on in our market here. So we can see on the right-hand side when we take a look at our 7-day running average. In fact, let's just blow that up. So here we go. We can see that we had basically 643 homes that came on market. And of course, we had almost 2x, almost, but not quite, right? We had 1,101 homes that went off market as far as pended. But here's this little section I put there that said buy opportunity. It says 571. What the heck does that mean? Super important. Remember, for buyers, first-time buyers, move-up buyers, now is the perfect time to be looking at making a purchase because sellers are much more negotiable. Sellers. They're much more negotiable and they want to make a move. But more importantly, there are great opportunities because a lot of other buyers, they start celebrating the holidays, go off, they do other things. And the people who typically buy during now until the end of January, many times capitalize on price. And price is super important in as much as it is with rate. But looking at price and everything else, what a great way to secure your financial future and whatnot, which is a common tactic that buyers do. This is when I buy my personal homes. I sell during the spring and I buy during the winter. Just saying, just makes really good financial sense. All right, so if we come back up here and then we take a look at hey, if you wouldn't mind, like and subscribe, make sure that you just hit the like. Let everybody else know by doing so because then YouTube pushes it out. There's no marketing, just really good, solid information for folks. And hey, you know what? We do appreciate it. Let's take a look at this. This is kind of important. All right, so when we talk about what's been going on as far as the active list price versus the average sold price, we actually have been holding pretty flat as far as the average for sale price. The however is we're actually down about $17,000 over last week for the average. I guess I could blow that up for you. Hang on a second. There we go. We're down $17,000 on the average sold price. Not huge. I mean, only $2,000 for the month of November as far as actual average list price. Small potatoes, still more than where we were at last year. But when we take a look at it over last week, when we start, we watch that trend, okay, we take a look at, say, hey, this makes a wee bit of sense that when we see a seasonally normal, even though better than last year, seasonally normal, when it's nothing worth, saying, hey, the alarm bells are not ringing. Now, if we saw consistent, $30,000, $40,000 difference, well, not quite that much, but anyway, that would be alarming. But we're not seeing it. We're seeing the typical, a couple of thousand here, a couple of thousand there, up, down, each and every week. The best part is this is real-time information. Everybody else is talking about October like you saw earlier, and we're almost at the end of November here, and you're getting a very clear indication of what to expect. Again, we will be putting out our what to expect for 2025 next week because that just needs to be a good time. People will be enjoying Thanksgiving and then whatever we're calling the day after Thanksgiving now. Anyway, all of that great stuff. It'll give you something to watch and find super interesting in life. All right, let's take a look at the hardcore metrics here. This is super important because this is where we talk about, some people like to call it velocity, some like to call it absorption rate. Me, I just say, hey, here's where our consistent metrics are trending. Year over year, we are up as far as solds, 2,346. Pendants are up a total of 3,304 year to date. When we take a look at it for the month of November, again, that same pattern. We're up 478 sales just for November itself, and 912 on pendant. And yes, as we've been posting, it is a balanced market. We've been posting that now for a couple of weeks. Actually about a month now, because we started to see more of a balanced market, funny enough, in about August. And what that means when we talk about a balanced market, even though we only have about 2.1, 2.2 months of inventory, when historically it used to be 4 to 6 months of inventory, you see, that's yesterday. We haven't seen those numbers for almost 11 years now. I used to say, well, a decade. That was last year. Now, really, well, we haven't seen them for about 11 years. And so I'm wondering if this is more the new norm for us. And it has been for a while, so I'm going to consider it as such. Now, we have 700 homes coming on. Normally, that matches the 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 going off market, but you can see that we're still pretty close. This time of year, it's not uncommon to see less homes coming on market. seasonally normal. We are seeing a few more homes going pending. I normally we normally see this in the 8 to 900, not quite 1100, but that just tells us people are still very motivated out there. There's a ton of pent-up demand, and when rates do drop, we're going to see an absolute drawdown on inventory as buyers come into the market. All right, so when we come out and then we start taking a look at new construction, okay? So new construction is plotting along, as they say, plotting the path, offering amazing incentives, which is what is attracting more buyers to them, just because we have such a large number of resale homes that came on market this spring, which is carried through. And, it's super important to understand when we talk about new construction, we can still see that, the year over year for the average list price is down about $5,000, but still up year to date. For the month of November, we were down $48,000 over last week, $2,000 when we consider year to date. Now, you might ask, George, is this alarming? No, totally normal. The builders have been offering a ton of incentives over resale to capture their attention of the buyers. Why? Super simple. When people can spend a little bit less, and typically about 10%, then get closer into where they want to be, because there's a lot of folks that are being required to go back into the office instead of staying at home, being remote. With that, it's like, okay, well, trade off on gas, since gas is going up, especially with however we voted in that environmental gas tax, and people just haven't reaped that benefit yet, but it's coming. It's unfortunate, but nonetheless, that is one of the driving factors, because that's a real cost. That's a out of the pocket every single week cost that people need to overcome. Now, when we take a look at what's going to happen with new construction, hey, they will continue this path. They are, without a doubt, the best, absolute best time to buy a home. New construction is right now, year end, month end. They want to get product off. That's why you're seeing a lot of these numbers coming in. And even though they're not going to adjust in price necessarily, they are absolutely going to offer you incentives and different things like that. A lot more flexibility. Anyway, keep that in mind, so that as we come in and we take a look at these hardcore numbers, there we go. We blow them up. We can see we're $5,000 just for the month of November, $48,000, and that's over last week. Okay, that's not year to date. Year to date is up above. And as you can see, we're still above year to date on all of our numbers. However, when we pop over here, we take a look at our hardcore, again, metrics and velocity and whatnot. Hey, listen, we're only about 32 homes off from year to date of what we sold last year. So we're still doing really, really well. We have 100 more pended, even though the month of November is lagging a little bit for sales. It's not a bad thing, okay? Those numbers are, again, super small. They're super tight, and people are just, they're just navigating back and forth. We have a couple of new construction homes that our clients are bidding on right now, and they're finding, like, hey, this is pretty awesome. We get a lot of incentives here. Yes, you can. They're just not going to adjust on price. And again, plat stability effect, benefits the people who have already bought and the people that will buy, and including yourself. Okay. So everybody likes stability and price. All right. So when we come back here and we start taking a look at the actual foreclosure side of the world, okay, which is, we don't have very many at all. That's a wickedly short list. In fact, when we take a look at it, you can see, so we still have the same 17 that are not technically foreclosures. So really, at the end of the day, our numbers are a lot less as far as total available and what came on market. And in fact, just to give people a little bit of insight, actual real foreclosures, we only have 2 on the entire east side. That's from Mill Creek all the way down to Newcastle, all the way over to Sammamish, Issaquah, Redmond, all that area. It's a pretty massive area. There's only 2. One is a condo, one is a single family home up in Mill Creek area. 7 in King County. We've got a few in Federal Way. We've got a couple in Auburn and Kent. And then, of course, Seattle. We've got one that is kind of core Seattle. The rest of them are in the Burien, White Center. Geez, I just drew a blank on it. It's right there by the airport. Bryn Mawr. I can come up with it. And then, of course, Snohomish. That's a pretty vast area. Most of that is one in Monroe, one in Marysville, one in Arlington, one on the other side. Just ones here and there. Pierce County, they have a little bit of a clustering that popped up. Nothing too extravagant at all. Here's the thing. Foreclosures just are not that great of an investment for most people. So understand that if you're going to look at those, you're going to be paying market value because banks come in, paint, carpet, and vinyl. They get it on for market value or a tad bit above, and then they go ahead and sell those off. We do not have enough inventory. We do not have enough REOs. And because we're considered one of the 5 sweet spots across the United States, we will not see foreclosures in any volume or discount at all, since we haven't seen them in a discount since 2013. Until something changes, which we hope it never does, we will stay the course. All right. So in the meantime, if you guys have questions, look, put your questions down below. Tell me what you want to know. There's no strings attached. We normally respond within about 30 minutes. And if you need anything that is more detailed, we fire that off to you. In the meantime, stay dry. At least it's not as windy. Have an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving. We wish you and your family all the best, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.